The Algorithmic Janitor, How an AI Uncovered a Billion-Dollar Fraud. The Ghost in the Machine. The sub-basement of Omnicorp was a digital tomb, a world away from the crystalline glass opulence of the executive suites 50 stories above. Here, the air hummed with a monotonous drone of cooling fans and smelled of ozone and dust. Dr. Aris Thorne, at 34, was its ghost. 3 years ago, she had been the wunderkind of predictive analytics, the mind behind Ether, a revolutionary AI designed to optimize corporate ethics and efficiency. She had presented it to the brilliant, charismatic CEO, Julian Croft, who had praised her genius, taken the code, and then, in a brutal corporate maneuver, framed her for a catastrophic data breach that had never happened. Her name was Mud, her career in ruins. The legacy systems, in turn, title was a cruel joke, a way to keep her quiet and under his thumb. Her only solace was the isolated server rack she secretly maintained, a machine the IT department had written off as obsolete. On it, she had built Wraith, a shadow version of Ether. While Ether served as Omnicorp's public-facing AI, Wraith was her silent sentinel, a ghost in the machine learning everything. It was her digital detective, and tonight it had found something, a single encrypted data stream, piggybacking on a legitimate financial transfer to a shell corporation. It was a whisper in a hurricane of data, but to Wraith's neural network, it screamed. The source was a terminal of Desmond Richards, the VP of operations. Her heart hammered against her ribs. This wasn't just embezzlement. The amount was too large, the method too sophisticated. He was systematically bleeding the company dry. The heavy door hissed open. Silas, the head of physical security, stood there, his face a mask of permanent suspicion. Thorne, the quarterly diagnostics on the penthouse security grid are flagged. Richards wants it fixed. Now! This was it. A chill of suspense settled in her stomach. This wasn't a random order. It was an opportunity. Wraith needed physical access to a terminal on the executive network to plant a deeper tracer. The diagnostic was her cover. On my way, she said, her voice a calm she didn't feel. She grabbed her toolkit, a beat-up canvas bag containing her laptop cables and a custom-built device loaded with her tracking software. To Silas, it was the toolbox of a lowly technician. To her, it was the key to the kingdom, the lion's den. The elevator ride to the penthouse was a transition from a tomb to a throne room. The doors opened into a lobby of breathtaking, cold luxury. A sleek, frosted glass desk was manned by a receptionist, Isabel, whose sharp gaze raked over Aris's worn jeans and faded hoodie. The service entrance is on the west side, Isabel said, her voice dripping with condescension. Security directive, Aris replied, holding up her work order tablet. Penthouse grid diagnostic. Silas's authorization. Isabel's eyes narrowed, but she waved a manicured hand. Fine, be quick, and don't touch anything. The emotional weight pressed down on Aris. This was the inner sanctum of the man who had destroyed her. She found the primary network closet and, while running fake diagnostics, secretly plugged in her laptop. Her fingers flew across the keyboard. Wraith chirped softly in her earpiece. A successful connection. Suddenly, voices echoed from down the hall. Desmond Richards and the CFO, Marcus, were walking straight towards her. The Omnicorp Shield is the most secure financial platform on the planet, Desmond was saying, his voice a smooth, confident baritone. The banks are lining up. The IPO will make us all very rich. Aris froze, hidden in the dim closet. But Desmond, the back door you insisted on, if it's discovered. Marcus whispered, his voice tight with fear. Desmond's smile was icy. It's not a back door, Marcus. It's a legacy protocol. Only we know it exists. Once the IPO capital is secured, we trigger the catastrophic failure. The stock plummets, we short, and we walk away with the Cayman funds. It's the perfect crime. Aris's blood ran cold. He was weaponizing her stolen AI, Ether, as the unwitting accomplice to a digital heist of historic proportions. Just then, Desmond's phone buzzed. The system is flagging an unauthorized access attempt on the core router. Here. His sharp, predatory eyes scanned the lobby. Find it. They knew. The vice tightened around her chest. She had seconds. Pulling her laptop close, she typed a frantic command. Wraith, initiate protocol. Ghostwalk. Scramble all access logs. Create a false positive from a server in Finland. She heard Marcus on his phone. It's gone. The flag just vanished. Must have been a glitch. Desmond wasn't convinced. Glitches don't happen in my penthouse. Silas, dossier. Trapped, Aris needed diversion. Her eyes fell on the smart environmental controls. Desmond was famously allergic to jasmine. She typed another command. Override HVAC. Penthouse lobby. Release reserve sent module, jasmine. A moment later, a faint, sweet scent permeated the air. Desmond stopped mid-sentence, his hand flying to his throat, his composure shattered. In the chaos, Aris slipped from the closet and walked calmly toward the service elevator. Isabel, distracted and flustered, saw her. You, Indiran, did you do this? Aris met her gaze, her hazel eyes steady. The system diagnostics must have triggered a purge cycle. It happens with legacy code. She paused, her voice soft but clear. You should tell Mr. Richards to switch to unscented. But I guess you didn't know he was allergic. The implication hung in the jasmine-scented air. Isabel's face flushed with humiliation. As the service elevator doors closed, Aris saw Desmond, his face red and swollen, staring directly at her. There was no recognition of her, but a dawning, furious recognition that this was no coincidence. The manhunt was now real. The digital manhunt. Back in the sub-basement, the real work began. The tracer was live. Wraith was now siphoning data at a terrifying rate, compiling an unassailable case. She saw it all. The secret accounts, the algorithm designed to trigger Ether's catastrophic failure. But she was a fugitive. Silas and his team were conducting a floor-by-floor search. Her server was no longer safe. She had one move left, a nuclear option. She would use the very backdoor Desmond had created to destroy him. She would trigger the failure herself. Not to crash the system, but to expose a flaw, making the evidence public and proving her innocence. It was an insane gamble, a millisecond's miscalculation, and she would become the criminal he had painted her to be. She uploaded the entire Wraith dossier to a dead man switch. If she didn't enter a code every 60 minutes, it would release to every major news outlet and financial regulator in the world. Then, she initiated the sequence. On the public-facing OmniCorp status page, a red alert flashed. Critical system failure imminent. Ether core compromised. Alarms began blaring 50 stories above. On a hidden admin channel, a message only Desmond's inner circle could see appeared. The ghost in the machine sends her regards. The backdoor you built for crime is now the door to your prison. She then released her countermeasure, a patch that slammed the backdoor shut and rerouted all the stolen funds back to OmniCorp's accounts, leaving a perfectly documented public trail straight back to Desmond Richards. The silence in the server room was deafening. She waited, the suspense of physical pain. The heavy door hissed open. Silas stood there, unreadable. Behind him were two men in the severe suits of the Financial Cybercrimes Unit. Aris Thorne, one said. This was it. Arrest. But then Silas stepped aside, and behind the federal agent stood the entire OmniCorp board directors, their faces a mixture of shock and awe. The lead director, an elderly woman with steely eyes, stepped forward. Dr. Thorne, she said, her voice filled with newfound respect. It seems we owe you an incalculable debt, and an even larger apology. The reckoning, the fallout was swift and brutal. Desmond and Marcus were arrested in the penthouse. Their empire lies collapsing in real time. The attempted heist made headlines for weeks. Aris was not just exonerated. She was hailed as a hero. The Wraith dossier was a masterpiece of digital detective work. The board offered her everything. Her old job, a fortune, the title of CEO. She turned it all down. Instead, she founded Sybil Solutions, a forensic AI firm dedicated to uncovering corporate crime. Her office was bright and open. She wore the same hoodies. Her first hire was a brilliant, overlooked data analyst from the sub-basement. She stood before her team, a whiteboard covered in code behind her. The lesson isn't that I beat Desmond Richards. she said. The lesson is that the most dangerous vulnerabilities are never just in the code. They are in the human heart. Greed, arrogance, the belief that power makes you invisible. Our job as digital detectives is to build AIs that act as a conscience of the system, to protect people, not just profits. She turned to the code on the board. So, who's ready to get to work? The next mystery is waiting. The real power in the digital world doesn't need a corner office. It just needs a terminal, a clear purpose, and the courage to make the invisible visible. Digital Detective presents stories that educate, inspire critical thinking, and highlight the power of technology in uncovering truth. Always verify facts and report wrongdoing through official channels. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Thank you.